in front of you. Raise your hand if you have a smartphone. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up for me. How many of you have a smartphone whose hands are not up in your pocket, your purse, your briefcase, something like that? I mean, look around. Other than one or two rebels, yeah. Other than one or two rebels up there, everybody's got a smartphone on, right? We're all media publishing companies today with these devices. All of us, with a couple of presses of a button, can be broadcasting our club's events, our club's meetings, all the good things that our clubs are doing to not only the local community and the international communities. And that's what's really, really important. I want you to start thinking as a media company. That's what we are today. The majority of Americans today, 83% of all Americans have access and or are using a smartphone, okay? More people have access to mobile phones than they do toothbrushes or drinkable water around the globe. More people have access to smartphones than working toilets globally. I mean, this is the future. Whether you like it or not, don't fight it, just embrace it, include the tool of the mobile device and what we'll be talking about into your Rotary efforts, and I guarantee you good things will happen. And I'll talk about some specifics in our club with raising some money using some of the approaches that I'll be talking with you about today. A Maasai warrior in Africa right now has more power in the palm of his hand than President Clinton did 20 years ago in the White House. Because of his access to the internet, because of the information that's available with just a couple of clicks, because Facebook and Google and other cell phone and wireless mobile device providers are blanketing the world with internet connectivity options. Did you have a question?
We went and met with a bunch of monks from the Dalai Lama, and as we're approaching the group, one of them is standing outside on his cell phone. And I wanted to get a picture of that so bad.
That's classic. Yeah, I mean, and so the availability of reaching out and touching somebody with your Rotary message, it's global now. Think globally, don't think locally, but the power of the smartphone is just unbelievable. Now, I'm going to be doing some Q&A in our last 15 or 20 minutes or so, just so you guys know, because I want to answer your specific questions. But I want you to just think about each of the social media platforms. John Hoffman. John's in our Rotary Club. He must not know that I'm here this morning. Sorry about that. I want you to think.
I get it at 3.
Oh, that's where he is. Yes, we have the whale. What is that?
Yeah.
Festival of the Whale Parade down at Dana Point. Think of your social media platforms at your Rotary clubs as digital welcome maps, okay? Set up your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your Snapchat, your Periscope, your Pinterest. Set up all of these accounts. Set them up in a way where you're using the same logo, okay? So that if somebody goes to your Twitter account and they see your club logo, and then they go to your LinkedIn account and they see your club logo, and they go to your Facebook account and they see your club logo, there's some consistency in your branding. You're branding your Rotary Club, and you're branding what you're doing with respect to community service, with respect to membership development, whatever it might be. Fill out all of the information at each of the platforms as much as you can so that it's easy for people to click and get in touch with you. You may have the best message in the world on Facebook, but if people following your club are on Twitter, or people following your club are on LinkedIn, they're never going to see your message on Facebook. And that's why you want to be on as many of the popular platforms as you can, because it only takes one person to show an interest in a particular project, one person to show an interest in being a member of your club that can come into your club and change everything. They can write a check and change everything for the community. So it's important that you have your brand shared over as many different areas as you can, as many different platforms as you can when it comes to social media and the digital platforms. I would respectfully suggest that each Rotary Club should have what's called a community manager. Okay, a community manager. Each club should have somebody who is assigned, and Rob, this would be a new thing on your org chart for our club, but have a community manager who who is in charge of making sure your social media presence is up to speed. And there's a couple of different ways to do it. In our club, for example, they can just say, hey, Mitch, be our community manager and get it done. And I'd be happy to do it. And we've been balancing that a little bit with some other members. In other clubs, if you're just getting started with social media, a community manager can pick somebody in the club to handle the Twitter account, somebody in the club to handle the LinkedIn account, somebody in the club to handle the Facebook account. You can separate it out so that it's not overwhelming for any one individual. And I've seen a lot of success with people doing that. Yes.
How do you manage that within the club when you have every committee chair wanting to publicize what they're doing?
Yeah, it has to be managed by the community manager, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that. And that flows into content, okay? And what I want to do is just kind of keep it simple, but the first thing is you want to make sure that you've got your club on most of the popular platforms, and we're going to talk about some of those platforms. When you guys were walking down here into this hallway, into this room right here, what did you see on the walls? Pictures, right? What I've noticed since I've walked into this, just a ton of pictures.
All over the stairs.
All over the stairs, and pictures of everything that the school's involved with. And what's really important is on social media, once again, change your mindset, and I'll be talking about the content that you just asked me about. It's all about visual. It's all about pictures and videos and even audio, for example, in podcasts. Sharing these things on social are what attract digital eyeballs. That's what starts the relationship dance. It's really easy to take pictures of your functions and put them up on Facebook. It's really easy to take videos or bring videos down from the Rotary.org website, and they've got a lot of good content, and share all of this content just a little bit each day, okay, on these various platforms, and start building goodwill in the community. What most people do wrong on social, and this is the biggest mistake people make on social, is they go in for the right hook with their first post. We're having a lobster fest, and we need your money. And we need your money yesterday. Most people are going to just click away. You only have 9 seconds to capture someone's attention span. What you want to do is think of this as a marathon. Start your social media platforms, start posting useful, interesting content, and start sharing what your club's doing. Okay, a little bit each day, a little bit each week on the different platforms. Start building relationships. Start listening to the responses that you get and the comments you get on each of your posts. Don't ask anybody for anything. Just share value, share tips, share links, share what other Rotary clubs are doing. When you see another Rotary club doing something really, really interesting, share their content on your site. Help promote them. Talk about it with other people and other clubs and what Rotary's doing. Talk about your community, your chamber, what's happening in your city. After you do that, and I'm talking about if you start fresh today, if you don't have a social media presence and you're starting today, do that for the next 30 to 60 days. Just share value. This is what we're doing, you guys. Jab, jab, jab. That's what you're doing. You're throwing jabs, jabs, jabs. You're making connections. Then when it's time, when your event comes up, when you need help with a membership drive, when you need to raise money, throw that right hook. That's where you then post your post asking for help with your lobster fest. Asking for help with the big function that you have coming up. That's the mindset of social. It's all about helping. It's all about adding value. And then, and only then, do you throw the right hook. And that applies when it comes to community service organizations, and it primarily also applies to business. And that's where a lot of people make the mistake, especially lawyers. They jump up on that soapbox and they're like, if you've been in an accident, call me. And that's as repulsive to me as it is to most of you. And they wonder why nobody connects with them on social media. Turn that around and start adding value to the consumer. Share your secret sauce when it comes to what you're doing as a Rotary Club. These are all the great things we're doing in the community, and you'll start connecting with people. And if you get this mindset when it comes to social media, you're going to see a world of difference in everything that you do. Sharing content used to be all you really needed to do. I'm going to say 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, good content, but it takes more today. You have to share good content in the right context. When you're posting on social, if you're posting something about, I'll just refer to our Lobster Fest, why are we having a Lobster Fest? What's the context behind it? We're trying to raise money for the community, for the charitable organizations that we've supported for the last 25 years, okay? And then there's one more aspect now. You want to share that content in the right context with your own personality added to it, with your club's unique personality, with the person who's posting on behalf of your club's unique personality. You want to share your art. You want to share your internal music on the social media platforms. It's critically important. And if you do that, you will start getting people to respond to what you're doing. I'm not talking about likes. I'm not talking about reshares. I'm talking about concrete engagement where something happens that you're looking to have happen, whether it's a donation, whether it's a new member coming into your club. That's what it's all about. The secret with social, it's not how many people you have following you. It's not width, it's depth. You want to think quality, not quantity. And that's huge when it comes to social. So if you embrace these techniques, and these are techniques that the top social media, digital experts, and many of them are friends of mine, will tell you will work very, very well, but 99% of the people are looking for the quick fix instead of the long-term solution. Yes, sir?
I get this from Dr. G because I don't really do selfies, but he does it all the time. Dr. G from the Orange Rotary. Can I do a selfie without you guys and just I can post it up on our thing with the tag him?
When we're done.
Okay.
If we have time,
We do
when
that?
we're done, because I want to do the same thing.
Oh yeah, because
I like the way you think.
okay.
Selfies are a good thing, you guys. Show what your club's doing in the morning
Yeah.
or in the afternoon or in the evening. Show everyone the fun that you're having as a club. Let's see. Well, that's not a good sign.
So much for technology.
I know. It's great when it works. Yeah, exactly. So let's do this. There are traditional platforms out there, like we talked about, and most of you have heard about the traditional platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and things like that. And really, you can learn how to do any of those things. What a lot of people aren't aware of are the new live streaming platforms that are out there. And the live streaming platforms, I'm telling you guys right now, these are game changers. These are going to change everything. Live streaming in real time, interacting immediately with your audience, where you're broadcasting and live streaming right now, and they're communicating back to you in real time. It's a game changer. The printing press, which was in Europe, the first printing press in the mid-1400s, that was a game changer with communication. Pony Express, telegraph, radio, telephone, TV, color TV, internet, game-changing communication tools over time. I think what you're going to find is with digital live streaming, everything else I just mentioned is going to be a thought. It's going to be a distant memory. That's how powerful social media is with live streaming. I'm talking about platforms like Periscope and Blab, and I'll show you what they are. This is a friend of mine, Darius. He's an archaeologist who's out of Rome. And every day he'll share on Periscope a different aspect of the city. And I just want you to see what he's doing. What he's doing is he's got his phone on a selfie stick, and he's just giving you a tour of a different archaeological historical site in Rome. And the guy's fascinating, but I want you to see exactly what it looks like, because it's high quality.
Temporarily, but the first time we have documented a freestanding, cement-constructed amphitheater is in the colony that is occupied by military veterans. Here, we're going to go down to one of the main galleries that takes you into the arena. And it's a big arena, again, holding 20,000 people.
So you see the carpets on the left side?
This we're going up Vesuvius. So
People
we
from
need to
around
stick
the
with
world
us
are actually
and
asking
follow
in
us
real time to
and follow
show me this, show me
and
that.
my followers and so forth. Yeah, nice long walk that we do with you. Down
Yeah.
below here, here's a cast
Yeah,
of
every day.
one of the massive trees. So what we'll see
So, but
here,
I want you
down
to
here
see,
is a
I want you to see the quality of the video. Here's somebody with a free
planted, of course.
access to a global
But they're here
audience.
because they were here. That's the great thing about Pompeii. We can understand from the remains just what used to be here. This was a massive, massive tree, and it has a modern version today. And on the wall to the left,
So he's talking about Pompeii. Now imagine if you had your phone in your next meeting videoing your speaker, an interesting speaker. When you get that super special speaker in here, why not share that speaker with the world, okay? Get everybody's permission, Yeah, obviously be aware of everybody's privacy. Be upfront, say, listen, you're fascinating. We can't wait to have you speak today. Would you mind if I share share your presentation with the world. I've yet to have anybody say no. Okay, but anyway, this is called Periscope. This is Catch. What happens is when you Periscope, it stays on your Periscope account for 24 hours, and then it disappears. During that 24 hours, you can download the video to your phone. You can upload it to YouTube. You can set up a free Catch, KATCH.me account, and Periscope automatically loads to Catch so that it's up there forever until you delete it. Think of it as a YouTube account for Periscope. And so what a lot of us have done is we set up Catch accounts, we Periscope, we click a couple of buttons, we Periscope live. When we're done, it automatically saves to Catch. And we share our Catch link with our audiences on the different platforms. And there's a lot to absorb right now, and I'll go into some of the details, but right now I just want to show you some of the broad brushstrokes of this technology and why it's so powerful. Yes?
Well, a quick question. Working in a nonprofit, we get photo releases. So if you're doing this, on lifetime, do you have to get photo releases or releases from the people if they walk into your video?
What applies offline applies online. So it just depends on your situation. It depends on your situation. If somebody gives you permission to shoot them live, such as the next example I'm going to show you, then you can do it. I mean, it just depends on the situation. And I don't want to get into all the legal aspects of things, It's one of these things where what applies offline continues to apply online when it comes to copyright, when it comes to IP law and things like that. Okay, but for example, last night, a friend of mine who's a police officer for the Azusa Police Department, there's a group of police officers that have jumped on live stream. And every Thursday night, they have a police show. And their purpose for being on live stream is to engage the community, to show the community that they're human beings, to develop a relationship with the community. It's awesome what these guys are doing. And what Mike did last night is while he was on duty, he shot 4 or 5 periscopes of things that they came across on duty last night. This gentleman was hit by a drunk driver. His truck was damaged, and Mike wants to show the community the harm that a drunk driver can cause to a family. So he grabbed this guy, got his permission, and immediately periscoped live.
In my truck to work and carry my tools and everything, so yeah, it put me out until I get a new vehicle. And besides that, I have 2 kids that I take on a daily basis to school, and so I have to work something else out for a while until everything's resolved.
Yeah, so we're looking at, you gotta notify the insurance company probably tomorrow morning.
After I somehow get everything out of my truck.
Get it right. Yeah, I would imagine it's on crunch, so you can't get into the doors and all that, so, yeah, get a hold of the insurance company. Obviously, you're gonna have to figure out where the thing's gonna go to get.
Now you see the hearts popping up? Well, if people who are watching your scope like what they're hearing or seeing, or if they just like you, or if they just think nice, if they tap the screen, it hearts it up. It just shows that they like what they're seeing, okay? And the comments over on the left that you saw was really anybody in the world commenting on what they're watching. Yes, sometimes you get trolls. Sometimes you get people that say really rude and stupid things, but you can block them. That's part of the process. It's their problem, not our problem. And so what Mike and his team of officers are doing is they're sharing what they're doing with their local communities to build better goodwill. And I think Rotary can do the same thing. Okay? If a police officer on the beat, this is a dangerous job, can find time to do this, we can do this too as Rotarians. And it's very powerful. I had the pleasure of traveling back to New York, and I spoke at what was called Periscope Summit. It was the first Periscope Summit of Periscope users from around the world. And we had people from around the world in New York talking about the different ways we're using Periscope. And I was on the legal panel there, but it was just amazing all the different approaches and ways that people are using Periscope for the business, for nonprofits, for whatever it might be. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Rotarians need to start using this live streaming tool, okay, where there's a huge audience to broadcast all the good that we're doing in the world. I was so blown away by Periscope New York that when they asked me to speak at Periscope Summit in San Francisco, I flew up there and spoke for the day. And met, literally 500 new friends up there through the Periscope community. People like this, like really good, hardworking people who get the idea that the more welcome match we have out there, the more chances and opportunities we have to share the Rotary word and to build our membership. Rotary Club last year, Monarch View Sunrise, we had a fundraiser where we put up a website where we could collect money, you know, a crowd-wise rise website. And because of the relationships that I had built over the last 5 years, the jab, you know, type of relationship, when I put that link out on my social platforms, when I periscoped about it, and when I shared it on all the digital platforms, when I blogged about it, when I did a podcast about it, people went to the website and they donated money. I mean, we raised like $5,000 or $6,000 for the Polio Plus, you know, in 2 months. You know, and it was with literally 15 minutes worth of effort. Is by building these relationships. And I think if all of us were doing that a year from now, if we were meeting again, I mean, that might be not just $5,000, it might be a 5 or 4 or 5 zeros behind it. I mean, you multiply it by the number of people in the room. So it's a pretty exciting way to generate revenue for our clubs and to kind of share the Rotary word. Let's see, what else?
How much is that? Is there a charge for that? No.
No, it's free. So I'm in a digital slideshow. I'm sorry, you guys, it wouldn't work with my PowerPoint. Yeah, what I wanted to point out is, you know, use of pictures and videos on social media. They're already at the Rotary.org website. You can click in there in the membership services area and download thousands of pictures that you can use on your social media platforms. You know, I was pointing out the videos, pictures. You don't have to spend a lot of time writing long copy. Use images, okay? Okay, here's an example. I'm not going to play it, but I use this in my business, and I just wanted you to see the interaction. So while I'm in my office talking about a business concept, whatever it might be, I talk about 3 keys to successful negotiation, or 5 reasons why I'm glad to be a Rotarian, whatever it might be. People are interacting in real time, okay? If I click on any of those, I can connect with them on Twitter. This is linked to your Twitter account. It's just a great way to build new relationships. Yes?
Couple questions. One, are you doing this under @Mitch Jackson, or are you doing this at Monarch Beach Rotary?
Okay,
How do you integrate both, you know, as an individual and as a club?
Good question, good question. So if you're doing this for business, I really think people enjoy doing business with other people. I'm a strong proponent of building your own human brand. Well, the reason it works for me as a lawyer is I don't talk about legal stuff. I talk about Rotary and things, soccer with my family and things I'm involved with. And everything, all of my accounts are primarily Mitch Jackson. Okay? With the Rotary clubs, because we're passing it along from year to year to year, I would encourage you to set up your accounts with your Rotary club name in it. Okay? So that you can build content over the long term. So it's a little different game plan. But hold your questions until we're done. I wanted to just show you guys the power of the last picture. I was in my office. Here's a picture down at Dana Point Harbor. Okay, watching the sunrise. As I'm talking about the power of saying no, taking massive action, and that's the way you get results in life. It has nothing to do with law, but this tool allows you to connect with people you might not otherwise connect with. Kate Kirk and I were on a show together through a Spreecast, which is similar to Blab, which is what I want to talk to you about. I would have never met Katie had I not been on these platforms. Even if you don't get or understand these platforms, get on them or get a community manager in your club to get on these platforms, because even if you don't get it, it's not about you. It's about your audience. It's about the potential Rotarian. It's about the potential donor, okay? So just keep in mind that if you want to get out there and get your message across to as many people as possible. Yes?
I just want to jump in there and say, underscore that point, because you start with the end in mind. You start with the people. Your audience means nothing about what you want.
It's always about the audience.
Yeah.
It's always about, you know, Brian Solis, who's a gifted digital futurist, he's someone who I follow hardcore. Brian will tell you that it's all about the customer or client experience today in business. And I would suggest that applies in Rotary too. Okay? It's about when you approach somebody about coming into your Rotary club, it's about how can you give them value. Okay? And once they understand the value that Rotary can bring into their lives, and you get them into the club, then you put them to work and you work their asses off. I I get it, okay, Rod and I get that, you know, but what I'm saying is it's all about your audience's needs, wants, and desires. This is Blab, and I'll pull it up real quick, I'll pull up a live Blab, but I just wanted to show you, we've got a lawyer in San Diego on the left, a marketer on the right, Brian's in Ireland. This is a global Blab happening in real time, where we were talking about something, but the point is we had thousands of people watching the show. Thousands of people were interacting with their comments, and you can do the same thing in Rotary. You might have, look, your fundraiser up on the left, let's say it's a singing competition. So you've got a camera, someone with a smartphone filming that. You have someone on the right in New York who's watching your singing competition, who happens to be a performer with connections, who's live, and anybody can pop on and off. It's like a television show. It's a free platform, by the way. It's called Blab, B-L-A-B.I-M, and it's just a great way to engage and interact. What's really powerful about these platforms, let's see what we got here, is that once you do your Periscope, once you do your Blab, you then share it on your other platforms. It's called repurposing. So that's for me, because I'm really, really busy, and I don't have that much time to do all of this. When I do a Periscope, when I do a Blab, I then take that link. I'll then take a screenshot of the Blab, and I'll share it on Facebook, I'll share it on LinkedIn, I'll share it on Twitter, I'll share it on Instagram, I'll share it on Snapchat, okay? Or I'll have someone in my office help me do this. And the Rotary clubs can do the same thing. And you repurpose, you do the content once, and then you repurpose it on the other platforms. Each platform is unique. There's a certain way to post to each platform. How you communicate on Twitter is different than Facebook. But once you figure out the differences, the different personality of each platform, it's really, really easy to take one show and repurpose it 12 different ways. And I'm actually going to share a link with you that shows you exactly how to do that. So let's see what else. Pay attention to MEVE, M-E-V-E-E. It's a new platform that's coming up. It's like Blab. It allows you to do live video broadcasts for free. The power of MEVE, and I met the CEO up in San Francisco, is that it's going to have the ability to add a donation component. So if we're doing a Rotary function and you want people to donate to your Rotary function or to your cause or the Rotary Polio Plus, whatever it might be, in MEVE they'll be able to do that without leaving the show. Okay, they're going to be able to go to MEVE, watch your presentation, and just click on a link and donate. Anchor is a brand new platform, A-N-C-H-O-R, that allows you to do everything I just said except it's audio. No video, it's just audio. It's almost a 2-minute podcast. So you go on Anchor, and you just, we're having a fundraiser next week. We're having a diamond dig tomorrow down in Dana Point, California. Come down and join us, everyone. And it takes that 2-minute audio clip and it broadcasts it to the world. And you build up an audience on Anchor, and people can reply. I'm telling you, a lot of the professionals, a lot of the people whose opinions matter to me, they're all in on Anchor going, this is huge. So just check out Anchor. It's a great way, once again, to promote your Periscope, your Blab, your Facebook post. I'll go on Anchor and I'll say, hey guys, I'm having a show tomorrow morning about, from the Diamond Dig. We're going to be broadcasting live on Periscope. I hope you guys can tune in. It starts at noon. And so my followers on Anchor will then click over and look for my show tomorrow morning, you know, from the Diamond Dig on Periscope. And we'll do the same thing on the other platforms. So this is a bit.ly link. It explains, if you go to this link, it will share with you 11 ways to post to Facebook and then share that post on the other platforms. Works really well. It'll save your community manager in your Rotary Club a lot of time. Just go to bit.ly/Mitch-11 ways. And real quick, I want to show you, oh, okay, this is cool. This is a Blab. We were talking about Blab. I have a show with Jennifer Hoverstadt. Her dad's a news broadcaster back in Virginia. She's in Virginia, I'm here in California. We have different shows. On Monday is David Merriman Scott, a gifted marketing specialist. He speaks on stage at the Tony Robbins events. He's a surfer. 1 week he's in Antarctica, the next week he's in Alaska. An amazing guy. He's our guest this Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 o'clock our time. And we're going to be talking to David about how he uses live stream while presenting at the Tony Robbins events. If you want to see how Blab works, just connect with me and what I'm getting at is, we have other shows coming up. Okay, these are all really, really well, this guy's gonna buy the New York Jets, Gary Vaynerchuk. He's got a firm with 600 people, VaynerMedia, he's built over the last 2 years. The point is, all of these are shows on Lab. You can do, Amy Cuddy was a TED Talk speaker, the second most watched TED Talk of all time. She's a professor at Harvard University, and she's the author of the new book called Presence. And she was a guest on our show last week. And I do these just to meet really interesting people, but imagine everybody you just saw, instead of it being interviewing a person, you're doing a Rotary meeting. Each Rotary meeting, you're having a show. Each function or event, you're having a show. Okay? Each community service event, whether it's for a club network. If I go to the San Clemente Club, I can bring my phone, and I can have your club's event as my next show. And you can have real-time interaction. You can use your phone and interview people and take questions in real time. People will pop on with their video. So I'm just trying to show you guys what it looks like. Let's see real quick. Yeah, I want to take questions. If you have somebody that you want to profile to your community, or get somebody in your community each week, somebody who's not a member of your Rotary Club, and interview them. I love what you're doing down at the beach. I love what you're doing for our community. Could you be on our Rotary show? And you get that person on your Rotary show, and you share that person with your Rotary members, with everybody else in the world. That person may want to become a member of the club. I mean, you're developing a relationship with people. You're showing them off and all the good that they're doing, and in return, it may come back full circle to you. It's a karma thing. This is just a really, really powerful tool to build rapport and to do everything else that we talked about. So my contact information, guys, is right there. If you guys have any questions about what we talked about, reach out to me, any way you want. I love this stuff. I'm passionate about it. I've watched how it's helped our firm develop a presence from a local Southern California law firm to a law firm of having a global presence. It's been a complete game changer. I've watched how it's affected what we've done in Rotary with a little bit that I've applied to our Rotary Club, and I know it's going to work for you. So reach out to me with any questions. You guys have any questions this morning? Yes, sir.
So as my business, we call it monetization. How would we not monetize these feeds, but how do we do links to our Rotary page? How do we get people to go from see these videos and streams and then connect with us at the local level?
What I like to do is I like to send people back to our Monarch Beach Rotary website.
How do you do that? So the videos have links in them, or you?
Yes. I mean, what you do is, hi everyone. This week from San Clemente Rotary, we're interviewing Bob Smith of Kalinga.com. If you guys have any questions, contact us at sanclementerotary.com. Let's get started with the show. So you can do it orally, you can put links, you can do this kind of stuff. There's a million different ways to do it. The important thing is to take a step back and don't be focused on that. What's even more important is just put out good content. Put out good content, and when people start connecting with you, they will make sure they know where you are, when your next show is. They'll start liking your Facebook page. They'll start following you on Twitter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get, believe me, I'm a business guy. I get the monetization aspect of it, and that's the biggest hurdle most people have. Put that aside and start focus, monetize the relationships, and that's where good things happen. Yes, sir.
Most of the setup on this is like taking a sip from a fire hose. Do you have any recommended progression of where to start and stages in which to progress?
Yes, you're right. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
And
you can get lost in it. That's a major concern.
Yeah, I would start off with setting up a Twitter account, a Facebook page, and obviously having your website. Okay, have your website. That's your home base where everybody can come back to. And start off with a Twitter account, because a lot of the things I've talked about link to Twitter. And Facebook is, 2 billion users. Okay, and we didn't talk about Facebook Live. Listen, the video, the photos I just showed you, how many videos do you think are watched each day on Facebook? Facebook Live is what I just talked about with your phone, and it's rolling out to the masses. It used to be just for celebrities. And now anybody, once it rolls out to your phone, you can click a button and you can broadcast live to Facebook. How many views do you think are watched on Facebook each day? Take a guess.
100 million.
Millions.
Million.
It's about 8 billion. 8 billion views a day. Snapchat, which is probably the most popular program application right now, is huge. It's probably one of my favorites. It's not just for kids. Snapchat's video views per day are 6 to 8 billion a day. It's huge. There are companies spending $200,000 to $700,000 per day to advertise on Snapchat.
So just a wild statistic, that means that each member would be watching multiple videos per day in Facebook.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You know, and it's one of these things where, to wrap your head around it, just think to yourself, if you want to promote Rotary, if we want to connect with our youth, the young business people of the world, we need to be where their eyeballs are. And right now, and Rod and Nan know my kids, if I want to communicate with my kids, and I think I did a pretty good job raising them, right? They're good kids, they don't answer their phone. If I want to talk to my kids, I have to text them. Even if they're upstairs, they don't answer me.
Right.
And I spoke at a lawyer convention about 6 months ago, and we talked about how this lawyer lost a huge multi-million-dollar case because every time he called the client, this new client, this young girl, 21 years old, she never responded to his phone calls. Every time she tried to text him, he never responded to her text. Right? And the reality is, and what I was telling all the lawyers is, listen, the first thing you need to ask once you're retained by a client is ask the client, how can I communicate with you? How do you want me to communicate with you? It's about you. And this client wanted me to communicate with her by text. That's how I communicated with her. And it was good and it was easy. The same thing applies to Rotary prospective members. Just because Rod and I enjoy old-fashioned newsletters. They're effective. They work, okay? But a lot of the younger clients that I have don't like newsletters. They don't like email. They don't like email, okay? Guess where they are? They're on Snapchat. They're on Instagram. They're on Facebook. They're on Twitter. They're live streaming. So if we have a Rotary presence on those platforms, we're going to start connecting. And yes, Rod.
In leadership, there's 3 C's. The first one is communication. And are we going to get to a point where we can't talk to each other?
I would suggest, and I know you don't want to hear this, but I would suggest that when I was my son's age, and he's 16, and they know Garrett, I communicate with 5 or 10 people, you know, every other day or so. I mean, I had a small group of friends, and now they're communicating with literally hundreds of people, you know, a day, if not a week. There's a different type of communication. I would also suggest that if you're not learning how to communicate on the digital platforms and look people in the digital eyeballs, that's going to be your problem, not everyone else's. In other words, things are changing. Things have already changed. And one of the things I really stress when it comes to lawyers starting their firms or established firms that just don't get social is, look, if you're not embracing the digital platforms, if you're not buying into what is happening in the world, you may not have a practice to go to in 5 to 7 years. That's how important I think it is to recognize the power of what we're talking about. Having said that, if you have people skills, sure, that's an asset. I love shaking hands and meeting people, but the reality is this is where our audience is as Rotarians. So let me leave you real quick with what time are we done?
10.
Oh, 10? Okay, good. So, Justine Musk.
9:45.
Okay, real quick. Justine Musk was married to Elon Musk for 8 years, and she's a TED Talk speaker, an amazing woman in her own right, and she was asked, what's it like being married to Elon Musk, okay? Guy builds rocket ships, electric cars. You know, what is it about Elon Musk and the people who you hung out with, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, what makes these people different? And she said, well, what makes these people different is that they're square pegs in round holes. They're not afraid to take risks. They're not afraid to be unique and do things differently. In fact, they're not afraid to piss people off now and then. And when you leave here today, what I'd like to challenge each and every one of you is to change your mindset a little bit, okay? Be that square peg in a round hole when it comes to Rotary. Be unique. Don't be afraid to try something different. Don't be afraid to take risks. And when it comes to being a Rotarian and doing everything we said, there are people back at your clubs who aren't going to like your message, but you know what? Don't be afraid to piss them off. Just do so with a smile. You're doing the right thing. Be that square peg in a round